Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot, and today we are going to fly the 737 Boeing business jet into Sion in Switzerland. Sion features only a 2000 meters runway and is surrounded by very high mountains, so this promises to become a very interesting approach. Now, we have chosen the ANAF RMP-AR approach for runway 25, and the reason for that is that the only other approach available, which is the IGS approach, has a 6.5 degree slope for which the 737 is not certified. So, our planned arrival leads us from Vada towards Grana and then from Grana onto the RMP approach. However, looking at Flight Radar 24, it seems like in real life they mostly get direct onto the final approach, as we can see on this example that I've chosen from a flight that landed in Sion yesterday. Now, that means that we are going to plan for the shortcut as well. So the first thing, since we have such a long and protracted arrival in here, is to actually plan for that shortcut. Now, you see this, which is significantly more track miles than what we are most likely going to fly. So here's what we will do. We will plan a direct to Golf Sierra 616 after entering Swiss airspace, so pretty much after Lutix. And if I insert this, then the airplane calculates to pass Lutix at flight level 344. So let's go ahead, erase that for now, since ATC has not cleared us yet. Then we'll enter flight level 340 or flight level 344 restriction below at Lutix. Therefore, we are now getting an accurate top of descent calculated. Now let's have a look into how we are actually going to fly this approach. And for that, we'll once again look at the approach chart. And this is it. So basically, this is an RMP-AR approach, so both aircraft and aircrew and operator need to be certified to conduct this approach. It is not authorized below minus 20 degrees. And now, here's the thing. Currently, the weather in Sion is pretty nice for an approach like this, but the temperature is minus 6. However, since the approach is certified until minus 20 degrees, and since there is a little bit of uncertainty if Microsoft Flight Simulator actually simulates cold temperature corrections correctly, I have opted not to do any altitude corrections on this. Alright, let's have a look into the vertical segment of the approach then. And we are going to start at Golf Sierra 608, which comes directly after Golf Sierra 616. At 17,000 feet, and that is in here at a speed of 210 knots, and I'm actually going to make this 210 knot restriction a hard one here in 616 as well. Now, we have a 3.6 degree glide path, and then passing Golf Sierra 607 we have to have a maximum speed of 160 knots. And this is actually in the FMC, and if we put the ND to a good range we can see it in here as well. After that we have an RF type black to Golf Sierra 606, and for that Navigraph inserts these RF points in here so that the curve radius more or less matches. Then we continue via 605, 604 and on to 617, which is the missed approach point that is pretty much located exactly on top of the runway. So that's the approach that we are going to fly. Now, we are flying a Boeing business jet, so we are rather lightweight. Looking at this, we have a landing weight of about 52 tons, so flap 30 landing is going to do the job. But we can have a quick look into the landing performance calculator as well. Those of you who've seen my live stream flying in Bogota and in Quito will surely know what I'm talking about. If not, then let's have a quick look, and here it is. So, this is some landing performance done for 2.5 RMP approach and a 5% missed approach gradient. The wind is currently slightly variable here in 3 knots with a bit of a tailwind component, so I have to take 3 knots of tailwind, minus 6 degrees, 1023 the QNH. Flap 30 landing, let's take a landing weight here of 52 tons. Come on. Here we go, 52 ton landing weight, let's calculate that. And we have a landing distance available of 1907 due to the displaced threshold, and using flaps 30, all brakes 3 and idle reverse gives us 1864 meters with a 13-minute brake cooling period. Alright, That looks good to me, so let's opt for this. And flaps 30, auto brakes 3 is selected. So, that is pretty much the approach that we are going to fly. Let's talk about the missed approach for a second, because that is an all RNAV missed approach over here. And looking at this, let's actually look into the textual description. Maintain 17,000 feet. So, here we go. 17,000 feet is in. Proceed via Golf Sierra 617. So we have to Golf Sierra 609. So we come from 617 and we proceed to 609. Then 610, 611, 612. We have the radius to fixed leg up here, which we can basically see in action down here on the chart from 611 towards 612. So we have all these little waypoints in here that Navigraph currently inserts, and that leads us towards 612. From there we'll continue on via 613 to Sion VOR and then back towards Grana, and all turns are limited to a maximum of 165 knots. So if we go around, it's going to be flaps 5 for a pretty long while before we can actually retract the flaps further. Also, exercise caution, the final approach track is offset 8 degrees right of the runway centerline, intercepting the centerline at 0.3 nautical miles before the threshold. That means that once we are visual with the runway after this little part of the mountain, we are going to proceed directly to the final. So let's have a look into the chart once more. We are going to fly that final turn over here, and once we're on this leg and we have passed this little mountain over here, we are going to make a left-hand turn to align ourselves with the final. So, this is what the missed approach looks like on the chart, climbing to 17,000 feet, and that is what we are going to fly. We're a Cat Charlie aircraft, minimums 3,098, and that is pretty much it for the approach preparation. Then let's go ahead and read the descent checklist. Pressurization. Land out 1,600 feet. Recall. Checked. Auto brake. Level 3. Landing data. Vira 30136. Minimum 3,098. Set left. Set right. And approach briefing completed. Descent checklist complete. Okay, we are in Swiss airspace now, so chances are that at this point we would get the direct from air traffic control. And looking at the VATSIM controllers, there are currently no ATC online here in VATSIM, so let's go ahead and give ourselves that direct towards 616. Execute. LNAV available. LNAV. And now we are a tiny bit above the path, which is interesting, seeing that we had the direct calculated at first. But nonetheless, won't be much of a problem. Let's start our descent. We'll go down to 16,000 straight away. Alt intervent. And the good thing is, flying such a light plane as a BBJ, it's very easy to catch up on the profile. Let's give it a 280 knots descent. And we are much closer. Let's make it 290, and then we should be back on profile. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit to spare you seeing that entire descent, so see you all a little bit later. And here we are in the turn overhead 616 towards our intermediate approach fix. Now, actually 616 is the IF, but towards the final approach fix of 608. Now we are about to start that 3.6 degree descent, so in order to stabilize that entire flight path, let's go speed an event, but get flaps 1 out. Okay, flaps 1, speed checked. Approaching descent. (3,100 feet set, VNAV path, speed and event). Okay, down we go, into the valley. So, we are sitting in a pretty light airplane with the BBJ. Let's see if flaps 1 is going to be sufficient to keep the thrust down in idle and the speed near 210, or if we need to extend flaps 5. But this is just something that we'll have to be actively monitoring now, to make sure to keep our airspeed under control. As we can see, flaps 1 is currently perfectly fine to keep our airspeed, but we now have to reduce 160 knots due to the restriction at 607. So let's go flaps 5. Because the problem is, we are flying on a geometric descent path here, and that means that past the decel point, the airplane is not going to pitch up in order to reduce its speed, but we actually have to do it using the drag devices of the airplane. So, let's go ahead and do that now. Flaps 5 speed brake is sufficient in a light airplane like the BBJ to start getting the speed back. In a heavier airplane like an 800 or 900, that would of course not work, or even in a fully loaded passenger 737. And let's go flaps 10. Speed checked. And we have flap 10. So, speed is coming back nicely. Also, we can carry out the 10 checks. We will not be entering any IMC by the looks of it. Anti-ice can stay off. And here we go. Okay, starting that RF flag turn. We are basically following the valley over here. And the speed is down enough for my taste. We are within 10 knots of the target. Let's get the speed brake back in. And arm it all ready for the landing. Okay, we follow down that valley. The speed is rather slow, so we have a lot of time here to prepare for that arrival. Once again, quick look into the charts to verify our position. And we are just crossing up here, 607 towards 606. Thereafter we continue through the valley up here, and when we pass that turn of the valley we can see in front over here, when we turn there to the left, thereafter we should slowly be able to see that runway. Okay, 10-mile final. So, getting a little bit fast here, let's use that speed brake again. And now we can start to search for that approach, or rather for that runway. The runway is 8 degrees off of our approach track, and it should be located right beyond this part of the mountain. So if you look up front, that looks like a runway to me. Quite snowy, to be honest. I might be using the thrust reverser if the runway is not cleared of snow. Okay, back on speed. Let's also go ahead and set the missed approach altitude of 17,000 feet.
2,500.
Terrain noted. Okay, 17,000 feet is set. Final approach course 243 set on the heading. We should have received landing clearance by this moment, so let's start preparing the airplane as much as we can.
Terrain, pull up.
Yep, that is definitely incorrect. Thank you very much, BMDG. Okay, let's go gear down, flaps 15, and carry out the landing checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall, check, speed brake, arm, green light, landing gear, down 3 green, auto brakes 3 set, flaps 30, set VREF plus 5, and that is set. Okay, disconnect autopilot, recycle the flight directors. Auto throttle off as well, and let's make that visual breakout to the left.
Approaching minimums.
Checked. Quite hard to see the puppies at the moment. Continue. But we definitely have the runway in sight, so we'll continue like this. Again, the VNAV path is still providing some pretty good guidance for us here, so we can use that for vertical navigation until we are certain that we have the puppies in sight.
1,000.
Correct. Okay, there's our runway. Definitely snowy. We are going to use second detent reverse, and there are some puppies at the beginning of it as well, even though they are not quite as easy to see. And with that snow on the runway, let's preemptively already put the engine anti-ice on. Okay, the puppies are showing 4 reds at the moment, but be aware of the text in the approach chart that the puppy angle does not agree with the approach angle, so we are going to continue like this. The puppies are aligned for the IGS approach at 6.5 degrees, which we are not certified to do.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Okay, speed brake up, thrust as normal. And we have 80% reverse, 80 knots. Manual brakes, we let it roll all the way to the end. But with a runway this contaminated, be very careful to actually brake the airplane down all the way to taxi speed. Because normally the last third of a runway can be a lot more slippery than the beginning of that runway. We'll take it all the way down. 10 knots. And then taxi to the parking. Now there is not a lot of information available on the internet on where to park a 737 BBJ, in Sion, but what there is available is a little video from a real BVJ landing in Sion, and we can see that they parked right in front of the tower on the apron to the left side of runway 25, so that is where we are going to go. Note that I'm taking the airplane very slow once again. This is all covered in snow, so we really don't want to go much more than 5 knots on this. Okay. On the straight path, can speed up a little bit, but not too much. And here we are, approaching the apron. Let's fire up that APU. And from what I could see in real life, they would normally park you somewhere in front of the tower in a Boeing business jet. Of course, you would get a marshaller and everything, but in flight simulation we don't have that over here, so we are just going to park ourselves on the main apron in front of the tower building. Looks like there are some markings below here, beneath the snow, so let's go right onto that. And this will have to do. Okay, parking brake set. Anti-ice off, APU should be available any second now, here it is. And shut down. Both engines below 20%. And we should be able to extend the airstairs now and request those SUVs. Alright, that's it. Thank you very much for flying, everyone. I surely hope that you have enjoyed this flight with us. If you did, then do let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm very much looking forward to see you all again on the next one. And until then, if you want to support the channel, you can now become a channel member where you can get exclusive access to pre-release videos, and in first class membership even request your own videos. This video has been done on behalf of a first class member, so I would like to thank you very much once again for the suggestion, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one, hopefully very soon.